The Raiders made yet another surprising draft pick, picking tight end Brock Bowers 13th overall after picking Michael Mayer in the second round last year. However, unlike their previous surprising draft picks, I think this one was done with good process. They picked the best player available, and that was Brock Bowers, who was rated a top 5, top 7 prospect by many evaluators. But in order for this investment to be worth the squeeze, Bowers has to be an elite tight end. He can't just be a good tight end, he has to be one of the best of the best. And there's a lot of optimism that he can reach that pinnacle. He's one of the most highly rated tight end prospects to come out in a long time. Bowers isn't huge. He's not your classic wide tight end. He's 6'3", 245 pounds, but what makes him special is his acceleration, his vertical speed, his ability to get in and out of cuts, and of course his ability to run after the catch. Here he's going to find a hole in the middle of Auburn's zone, catches the pass over the middle. You can see him just outrun this safety, run through some arm tackles, and just outruns defensive backs on his way to the end zone. But it's not just the vertical speed, it's the change of direction and short area burst that is really going to make him a nightmare for linebackers to cover. Here he's going to run a simple stick route, and as you can see, as soon as he gets his head fake, he's able to pop out, cover some ground, catches the ball, and you see the change of direction again as he gets vertical, gets his shoulders upfield, accelerates past that linebacker, and maximizes the play. In the league, he's probably not going to get covered by linebackers very often. He's going to be split out wide. He's going to see a lot of safety coverage, a lot of nickel coverage. Here against Alabama, they're going to have safety Jalen Key, who was drafted by the Jets to cover him. He's going to run a seam route. You can see a little head nod to the outside, and then he gets inside and catches that pass in the middle of traffic. Here, cornerback Sharif Denson's going to end up covering him, and you get to see how fast he is. He's able to cover a ton of ground vertically, causes Denson to have to open his gate and sprint to get on top of him. And quarterback makes a good read, throws a back shoulder pass, and of course he snags it. And like any quarterback-friendly tight end, he rarely drops the ball, only a 4.4% drop rate. Here he beats LSU safety, creates a little bit of separation, but is able to snag the ball through contact. Next play, Florida's going to try to cover him with the inside linebacker with outside leverage. Has absolutely no shot. He tries to funnel him to help, but the quarterback throws a nice high ball and again snags that ball through contact. Next play, Auburn's two-man, very hard coverage to beat. You have a trailing defender with the safety over the top. Beck throws a nice back shoulder pass into seam. He's able to reach back and adjust. Really nice hard catch to make, but if you have a quarterback that's willing to make some of those hard throws and try to throw receivers open, he's going to reward you with a lot of big plays. And like I mentioned, he's not the biggest tight end. He will get out-muscled at times when he's trying to block some bigger defensive ends. But I think the important thing is he's a very willing blocker. He puts a lot of effort into it. And I think as he gets stronger and his technique gets better, he'll be an effective blocker. I don't think he'll ever be a great dominating blocker like George Kittle, but I think he can at least be a useful blocker. And that's important because you want teams to at least respect his ability to block, because you don't want to be in two tight end sets and have teams put out their nickel defense, because I mean, he can beat nickels and safeties, but ideally you want to see him against linebackers. So how's this going to work in the Raiders offense with Michael Mayer ready in the fold? Well, last season the Bears under Getsy finished 10th in percentage of multiple tight end personnel usage. So he's accustomed to using multiple tight ends in a run game and pass game. But the key for this thing to work is Michael Mayer has to make drastic improvements as a run blocker, because quite frankly he was very bad at run blocking last season, but he has that body to be a classic Y. He's over 250 pounds, but as you can see in these clips, his hands and feet are all over the place sometimes. He's off balance at times, just very inconsistent and just not strong enough. I think he needs to spend this offseason really working on increasing his functional strength and really honing in on his technique, because there are flashes of him being a good blocker, like on this clip against Khalil Mack, he's able to body him and toss him on the ground there. The Raiders just need Mayer to be that dependable Y they can keep inside, so Bowers can move around the formation as a slot. He could line up as a wing like on this play from Getsy's offense last year. They're going to have a lot of plays where tight ends are involved in double teams, so the onus isn't always on tight ends to single block defensive ends, but there are going to be plays where you're just going to have to man up and do it. Like on this play, it's going to be an ISO play where one tight end blocks the defensive end while the other folds underneath and lead blocks. You just don't want to get into a situation where defenses can defend your 12 personnel with their nickel group. That way they have an advantage against the pass and they don't have to respect your run game. You lose any advantage you have with 12 personnel if they can do that. Going into the draft, the Raiders wanted to upgrade at quarterback. They couldn't do it. So the run game is going to be a big, important part of the offense. And having tight ends that could at least be functional in a run blocking scheme is going to be very important. So we'll see how Mayer's development goes. It's going to be important. This offense has a lot of interesting pieces, but they all have to fit together. If you like this video, please like and subscribe for more film breakdowns in offseason.